Welcome to Matchday Minus Two on LCFC TV, Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. I'm your host, Dan Bates, to take you through the next half an hour. We'll be looking back at that win over Birmingham in the FA Cup and also looking ahead to the Aston Villa game here on Monday evening. I'm joined in the LCFC TV studio by two former Leicester City club captains. It is the legends themselves, Steve Walsh and Matt Elliott. Good afternoon, gents.
Good afternoon, Batesy.
Good afternoon, Batesy lad.
Oh, well?
Yes.
All right, Matthew. See you up this early?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
You always have a nice wry smile on your face when you're called a legend, don't you, Matt?
Yeah, I don't know if it's smile or smirk. It does make me giggle, that's for sure, but we'll take it while we can get it, won't we?
We're getting a bit older now, but yeah, it's nice to be remembered, isn't it?
Yeah, the current group then, FA Cup action obviously on Wednesday, Steve, and it went well in the end, didn't it?
Yeah, objective, achieved, so we've got a great opportunity now, and I'm quite positive about, the draw. I think it's very winnable and could be the first time a semi-final in, 1982 was it, did we say? So, yeah, it's great. I think the club needed it. I think at the minute it's good timing. I think it's given us a big boost going into the Aston Villa game. That's the important thing, is getting back on track and just the win, the morale around the place is what's needed. And I think... everything going into the Villa game now is all teed up for a positive game, and hopefully 3 points, which will just, cement that solidity that we need at the minute.
Yeah, you were on co-commentary, of course, Matt, for LCFC Radio on Wednesday evening. First half left a lot to be desired for, didn't it? But the second half, Leicester grew into the game, I guess, didn't they? And eventually got the winner.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. I think I probably overcooked it at half-time, made it sound a better game than it was. But Leicester started brightly enough, didn't they? And then sort of ran out of ideas, and Birmingham felt their way into the game and looked solid and hard to break down. But as the game wore on, the better Leicester got, or the more likely they were to win the game, I felt. Birmingham were tiring and the extra class showed, but this is half chances really, and it typifies or encapsulated how the first half went. Decent strike there, but that was second half, wasn't it?
Yeah, these are the chances Leicester had in the second half, but it really, again...
Chances null and void in the first half, pretty much. That was second. I sat right behind that. Decent effort.
We were almost saying that it probably would be a left-footed free kick, that, but he can't disguise that bend on that, and that was a decent effort. When you look, that was a great effort. Just clip the bar, and when you look back at it, okay. When a team comes like that, it is difficult, and they did wear them down. They never got out of the second half, Birmingham. Like Matty said, they just wore them down till they tired that much, and in the end, it was going to happen, whether it went to penalties or not. But I think the better team did win on the evening.
Sorry, Ron. I was just saying, if you look at a negative start, you go, oh, it wasn't very scintillating, and they should be breaking down oppositions like that. But it's hard, like Steve says there. They were so well drilled and shuffling across, just wouldn't break out of their defensive blocks, as they call them these days, 2 rows of 4. And, it had to be something out of the ordinary, and Leicester weren't able to provide it. So that's the negative slant on it. But the extra class showed.
Yeah, it didn't. And when you look at how it progressed in that game, when a team does come and do that, their game plan was just to come and do what they did, because if they would have tried anything different, it wouldn't have worked. They know how Leicester can rip teams apart on the day if they're going to play it in a different manner, and so they were forced into playing it that way, really. It was the only way that they were going to get anything out of that game. That was the game plan, and their only game plan. So obviously it was good to see that Leicester worked it out in the end, because there's been a lot of games years ago where we couldn't break a rigid back four and 2 banks of 4 down, and we've struggled to do that. But again, they were patient and got the rewards in the end.
I guess the big positive, Matt, is that, well, obviously through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, but a clean sheet as well was a big thing, because it was the back 5. It was Wilfred Ndidi, he sat in front of the usual back 5. So for them, I guess, keeping a clean sheet must be a big positive.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent you'd expect it. You play against Championship opposition with not too much adventure about them, so you'd have been disappointed if you had got caught on the break, although they threatened them a couple of times, didn't they, in the first half. I thought he was quite influential, quite intelligent in his play. But Yeah, listen, if they conceded one, exactly, the nerves would have been scrambled a little bit, wouldn't they? And all of a sudden, the recent poor form would have kicked in a bit more, and who knows what would have happened. But they were able to play from that defensive platform. They looked pretty comfortable, didn't they? Schmeichel had very little, if anything, to do at all night. The longer it went on, as Steve has said, it was just a matter of are Leicester going to make the breakthrough? And eventually something gave way, didn't it? But I thought it was interesting how it materialised, because I think that's what was needed, something out of the norm. Ricardo venturing forward. Chilwell got forward a couple of times in the penalty box, which he hasn't done of late. Damari Gray, when he was on the pitch, he got brought off, but he was trying to join up and be more of a partner with Iheanacho. It needed variation. It was too structured and too predictable in the first half.
This was the lead up to the goal. This move here in particular would have been a fantastic goal if it was finished. Obviously, the clearance is made and Leicester do come forward and score, but it got to the point, Walshy, that we were talking about before, that the class and the quality in the end did show from Leicester. It
did, and like Matty just said, when Demore was on, obviously he was substituted after that, but he started to come inside, and their defenders didn't know what to do then, and it started to cause a few problems. They were pushing further and further back. And in the end, obviously, you can see the build-up to the goal. We were almost saying, "Oh, Brian, go on, put it in." He delayed it because it wasn't the right timing, and just turned round and whipped it in. And there's Ricardo, and he's when you look at that header, look back, that was a really hard effort to score from there, where he did, and he took a bit of a knock on his head, but he's brave. He's got that will to know where to be, and that instinct, and that's what I like. Not only is he a fantastic counter play, he's now become a very good defender, and he'll pop up with the odd goal or two now, and that's fantastic. That's what we need.
Birmingham fuming.
They are
conceding that goal.
Yeah,
I mean, on the face of it, that looks like poor defending, and it was, but there was a reason why it was poor, because the amount of pressure that Leicester were applying and the crosses they were putting in with no real effect. Birmingham were dealing with it one after another, but eventually something was going to give, and they were getting fatigued. They had 5 in the vicinity of Ricardo, and Ricardo, what was he, 5'8", wins the header.
Yeah.
6'2", left side centre half. Was it Fraser Clark or
Clark Salter?
Clark Salter, that's the one. There's a Fraser Clark somewhere.
You wouldn't have put money on him.
No, exactly. And you could see, and they were devastated. They were looking at each other, trying to find someone to moan at and blame, but.
Because they're a big physical team.
They've been battered into submission.
Yeah, they were battered into submission. You're right, Matt. And we started with a strong lineup, didn't we? And I was really glad to see Ndidi back, because I think he's so important to us. I just hope and pray that he can be all right for the running now, because he's vital. He's that kingpin for me this season. And you look at it now, that could just spur us on in these next few games, because he is a very influential player. And it worried me a little bit with Johnny Evans, with his knee. I didn't know what was going on there. I think that'd be the last thing we need. I'm hoping he is okay, seemed to be, but you just never know, do you? But that was the risk sometimes you play. But we started with that team to win this game, and I like the way that Brendan's gone about that, because it's a great opportunity for us, and it could pay dividends now. You look at this Chelsea game, and I'm not scared of them at all. I think we can beat them, definitely.
Well, let's get some reaction then from the tunnel after the game with Birmingham on Wednesday evening. This is Brendan Rodgers and Mark Albrighton.
The tempo of our game was better. We denied them the space much better in the second half. I thought first half we had some good combinations, got in, but then they could play out of their half too easy for us. We didn't just quite protect the game from behind. But after that second half, I thought we really dominated the game, and you felt the goal was coming, and thankfully we wore them down in the end and got the goal.
That's it, yeah. Remain patient, don't switch off, because the moment you switch off, I think they proved that the counter-attacking was their strength, and set pieces as well. We knew we had to be careful. They're a big side. They put the ball in the box from anywhere near your half, and we had to make sure we was concentrated at all times, and we were.
Chelsea in the quarter-final here at King Power Stadium. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, delighted. I think whoever you get at this stage is going to be tough. So, but all you'd ask for is a home game. So we're happy with the home game.
That's Mark Albrighton and Brendan Rodgers there speaking after the game on Wednesday. Walsh, Brendan, they're obviously talking about the draw with Chelsea at home. You've already touched upon it a little bit. Do you think, well, he sounded happy, obviously, with the home draw.
He'll be happy with that, definitely. It's a home draw, and it's as simple as that. At this stage, you want a home draw, and we've got that. And don't forget, there's some big teams in the competition. But I just feel that the way we've played against Chelsea this season, I think the last game at home with 2-2 draw, which we made a few errors, I don't think that'll happen again. I think, we had chances that we missed in that game. I think they're very beatable, Chelsea. I think they are. I think that, Lampard's doing a good job, don't get me wrong. They've got some good young players coming through, and he's utilised that well this season under the embargo that he's had. But I feel that I'm positive that we're going to go through. I really am. I'm that positive about that draw. So yeah, pleased with it.
In general terms, Matt, with the draw, there's obviously a lot of big clubs left still in the FA Cup. But as Steve was saying there, that if they beat Chelsea, they get to their first semi-final since 1982. And what better chance do they have than this?
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, dangerous game, looking too far ahead, isn't it? We've made that mistake before, probably. Certainly in some quarters, in terms of the Carabao Cup, people were saying, "Oh yeah, perfect draw, Aston Villa. Oh, it's going to be great if we get to a final," and it didn't happen. Now, don't worry about who the opposition may or may not be. It's going to be strong, whatever. You'd expect that in a semi-final. Let's deal with it. Let's get the quarter-final out of the way first. Chelsea, for me, a winnable game, but Chelsea will be thinking the same.
It's probably the tie of the quarterfinals, isn't it? Leicester-Chelsea. Looking at the other ones as well, it's probably the best of the group.
In terms of league positioning, yeah, and current form, well, not necessarily form positioning, the profile, etc. But listen, they're all good quarterfinals, those, aren't they? And the way the season's gone, you wouldn't be overconfident of any of those teams going through. Probably Man City aside. If they choose to put their strong team out, which they probably will. But listen, Leicester have got as good a chance as anyone. Irrespective of the opposition, go with the be forthright and aim to win the competition. And have that mentality. Don't think, oh, wouldn't it be great to get to Wembley or great to get to a semi-final? I think if you have that mentality of, right, this is part of the process for us going to win this competition, I think that will serve them better if they can adopt that attitude.
It's still, when you look at this season, it's a fantastic season, really. It's a memorable season already for what we've achieved and done. Yet, we've got another chance in another cup competition, and we nearly went all the way in the League Cup, and should have, really. I think the lads will be disappointed with themselves that we didn't quite get through there. But we've got another opportunity and another cup, and I really am that positive about getting into this semi-final of the FA Cup. And then who knows from there, could this be a history-making season again? Not only have we got a great opportunity of a Champions League spot, that we've got a chance of FA Cup glory, which should be listen, it's dreams, isn't it? What we would never at the start of the season would have thought this, where we are. So already we've achieved a lot for me, and it's easy to criticise sometimes. But these lads, if they can just set the target now, obviously the next game is Villa, just concentrate on Villa. That's a really important key game now, that is, for me.
Yeah, there's certainly still a lot to play for the rest of the season with the FA Cup quarter-finals and the Premier League. Next up is, of course, Aston Villa on Monday, and coming up, we'll talk about that game with the Villains.
Saigon.
We are an instinct that ignites action. We are a journey, taking one step more. And we are the heart that beats as one. We are proud to be more. De Montfort University, Leicester.
Welcome back to Matchday Minus Two here on LCFC TV with me, Dan Bates, Steve Walsh and Matt Elliott. Now, with that game being on Monday, Leicester fans have got a free weekend. So what better opportunity to watch LCFC TV's brand new documentary, 20 years on Leicester's League Cup triumph. It's a fantastic hour-long feature documenting that League Cup winning campaign in 2000. Here's a little sneak preview of what you can expect.
No, they were magical times and a great group of lads to be around.
Chance! 2-2! What symmetry, what joy, what relief!
And the memories I've got of that is probably one of my best moments in my career.
We underestimated no one because we was that team.
And he has a real presence! Oh! It's a super goal from Matt Elliott!
When I came to Leicester and Martin O'Neill was a manager, I realised that playing football wasn't enough. It was about winning.
Proud to lead Leicester out, proud to walk behind Martin O'Neill.
Guppy now with the corner, it's Elliott! And then back in front!
The rest is history.
Yes, 20 years on, Leicester's League Cup triumph is available to watch on lcfc.com/TV and also on our YouTube channels as well. Obviously, you were involved in the making of that, and it's a really good hour and fantastic memories, I'm sure, for the both of you.
Is it an hour? I've only looked at my bits, so 20 minutes. I didn't know.
20 years,
Tags
baby, so you weren't born then, were you?
I didn't know Tags was even on it. But Tags, good dramatic effect there, wasn't it? And the rest is history. Yeah, it's good. It was good fun making it well, wasn't it?
Great memories, and when you look back at it, and you know, it's a fantastic production. It really is. It's going to be really popular, I would think, with the Leicester fans. That is, yeah, really great thing to do.
Not sure about the close-ups. we're not getting any younger. Help us out a bit, will you? And Tags was looking well.
I tell you what, they came to my house with all the gear, the lighting, and everything. It's really well put together. So, yeah, great memories. And you know, just look. It's like yesterday though when you replay them. It's just I was watching. Obviously, Matt. I was in the stand for that game, but you know, the Villa when he headed that, I'll never forget him reeling away, and just these things stick in your mind.
Yeah, fantastic memories. It's a brilliant documentary. So do make sure you check it out on lcfc.com/TV.
Expertly put together by Sam Chambers and his production team.
We thought you'd get that one in there. Right, Aston Villa then. We saw you scoring a goal, celebrating against Villa. They're the opponents on Monday, of course, in the Premier League, though. This time, what kind of game do you think that'll be?
Well, we was hoping there were going to be moments of celebration in the semi-final against West Ham, similar to 20 years ago. Wasn't to be. Hopefully this time around. West Ham, sorry. I keep doing the colours, isn't it? The cloud and blue. Aston Villa. I chucked one little one just to make sure you're listening every week. Against Villa on Monday. Yeah, like Walshy says, big game. Big game for both sides, isn't it? There's a lot riding on it. If it wasn't to go well for Leicester all of a sudden, you know, there's only so many times that the other teams are not going to make ground up.
The doubters will be out.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, the pressure will be on a little bit. But even then, they'll still be in a healthy position. You know, they'll still be third in the league. But you know, that mindset will just start changing a little bit. So there is a lot on it. You can't shy away from that fact, I don't think. But I think Leicester have got the capabilities. Villa are going to be giving it their all. It's do or die for them now. They're aware of that situation.
Really contrasting pressure, you know, from top to bottom, Matt, as we know. We've been there before, and I can tell you, I'd rather have the pressure that we've got, albeit Villa have been a thorn in our side, really, this season, looking at that result. But we're well capable, like Matt says, of winning this game and just get back to what we were doing right. Just, you know, really work hard and know where Villa's strengths are and try and eliminate that, because clearly, you know, if you can pin Grealish down, you can stop them whip balls in that they do, very early balls that they put in behind the defence, which caused us problems at Villa Park late in that game when we were just seeing it through the game. You felt like we got a hold of the game, and then suddenly, bang, out of nowhere, it was out of our hands. So it's a game that, you know, we win this. For me, this is key game of all of them at the minute.
I think you look at it, you think, Leicester trounced Villa in the first game, but you wouldn't imagine over a 3-game period that Leicester would not win. If you're saying over the 2 legs, with a draw and a defeat, and then for them not to win again, because they are the better footballing team.
They are.
You know, that would be unusual. So you can look at it in that way, if you like, as a player.
It was a commanding display, wasn't it, at Villa Park earlier on in the season?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, there was a few eyebrows raised when people saw the team sheet, and it was like with a diamond in the middle of the park and 2 up top, and people think, why is he making changes there, Brendan, when they were going so well with the other system? But
it could have been 7. It was there was that many times we opened them up. It was unbelievable.
Well, they played a flat back 4, didn't they?
They did.
They got exposed, and they were pedestrian, to say that. They had a couple of chances. First half, obviously got themselves back in it here with Grealish, and then 1 or 2 other circumstances where Leicester forfeited a bit of width because of the diamond that they employed. But great header from Johnny Evans there, perfect connection.
They'll take confidence from this game, won't they? Rather than, I guess, the 2 games in the League Cup.
Semi-finals, Leicester again were the better footballing team. Villa applied themselves, and fair play to them. You know, their game plan worked. They battled and they, you know, scurried around, and you know, a little bit of quality when it mattered as well. You know, got to give them credit for that.
You see Villa in that game there. They played such a high line that was crazy, really, against the pace of Vardy, you know, and you saw them just waltzing through and ripping them apart. So I suspect that
they learned their lesson.
They have learned the lesson, and the last few games they played a real rigid formation, which really, again, was one of them games where we had to be patient and try and work it out, and yet it just didn't work that way.
What does the fact that Leicester play on Monday, obviously after everybody else has played, will that play a part at all? Do you think, Matt, knowing, for example, that there's a Manchester derby, of course, whatever happens with Manchester United, what happens with Chelsea maybe, will that play any part?
Well, I mean, ideally, irrespective of the results, you're just focusing on your game, aren't you? And ultimately, that's what matters. But it would have a little bit of an effect, possibly. Now, let's say, for instance, all the teams below Leicester win at the weekend, or as many as possible, I'm not sure, on the matchups, and the gap is closed. And then all of a sudden, you know, Leicester, rather than maybe, you know, playing reasonably well and, okay, they're getting a point, they might think, well, we need to win this. So it might change the pattern of the game, the rhythm of the game. But ultimately, I think Leicester know it's not do or die for Leicester. It's not a must win, but it's a really like to very much win, isn't it?
You know, as a manager, a manager will always look at a league table, analyse who we're playing next, but it's always your next game with a manager to focus on. But I'll guarantee, you know, it's like when Martin was manager, he'd target so many games that he wanted so many points out of, really. And we'd do it in the hard way sometimes, and Leicester have done it that way sometimes. So when you look at the fixtures, and you look at, we've got Brighton, we've got Bournemouth, we've got Palace, we've got Burnley, I think, and we've got quite 7 or 8 favourable games. For me, win your home games will be all right, you know, and whatever we can get away, it'd be great. And we'll probably do it the hard way, knowing Leicester, you know. So it's hard to read into, but this for me is a key game, and it'll just kind of, that pressure that's mounting at the moment for people who are doubting us, it'll just kill that, and you know, I think it'll just open that door for that pathway to make it smooth.
Yeah, it's just that one result. You get that one result, and after 2 or 3 other teams lose. I know they won't keep losing, but extend it back 10 points gap.
And that's why that game the other night was important, just to get that winning mentality
back in, which is exactly what they did, and let's hope it continues
Absolutely.
then on Monday evening in the Premier League. You can, of course, listen to every single kick with Aston Villa on LCFC Radio. Our coverage starts from 5 p.m. though, with the pre-match pint. That's followed, of course, by Matchday Live from 7 p.m. And then in just under a week's time, we'll be back again for Matchday Minus Two to look ahead to the trip to Watford and Vicarage Road. Very quickly, the two of you, score predictions ahead of the weekend before we go, please.
2-0. Leicester.
We assume that.
Yeah.
2-1 or 3-1, I think.
2-1 or 3-1. Well, let's hope you're both correct then in one way or another on Monday evening. Well, we'll leave you, though, here on Matchday Minus Two with the Goal of the Month nominees for February. Voting is now open on lcfc.com. Thank you very much for watching.
Chowdhury's on it. James Maddison, lovely ball onto Tielemans, who sweeps it forward to Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes here, one touch into the penalty area, back onto his right foot, shoots and scores! Harvey Barnes equalises, just what Leicester City needed. It is 1-1 at the King Power Stadium, and it's a brilliant, brilliant goal to watch.
That's a great move from Leicester City. When that ball was into Maddison, he's on the half turn. Quick football destroys teams, and that was quick football. First from Maddison, then from Tielemans to find Barnes. After that, it's all about Harvey Barnes.
The Leicester left back, short to Maddison. Back to Chilwell, down the line to Harvey Barnes. Barnes into Vardy, lovely football to Chilwell. Chilwell clips a cross up, and it's going to miss everybody, is it? No, Ricardo keeps it in play. Tielemans back into the box, comes there. Chilwell who scores! Ben Chilwell scores! And Leicester leads in a massive, massive game. 3 points here will strengthen their grip on one of the Champions League places. It was scrappy, but Chilwell's finished, and from behind, Leicester City lead.
Ponce Daly Campbell with the ball, and it's dangerous. Callum Wright is in there, gets the touch on it, and Callum Wright has scored. Oluwayemi thought he'd got the touch on it, did. Tried to parry it away, but the header from Callum Wright puts the Young Foxes ahead in first half stoppage time. Leicester City under 23s 2, Tottenham under 23s 1. The turnaround in first half stoppage time. Right with the ball in, and I found George Hurst. They have to bring it on. They're getting any shots away. He does, and George Hurst on the turn has put the Young Foxes ahead. They had it all to do, George Hurst, bringing it under control initially, and then a right-footed strike on the turn beyond Josh Oluwayemi. And it means that the Lions men go in front at Home Park. Leicester City under 23s 3, Tottenham 2. Good work from Callum Wright initially, and George Hurst with the initial control, had to get the turn and his shot away.